Dive. My guest today is Mr. Amit Sarin, who is the Managing Director at Anand. Amit, thank you very much for joining us today at Deep Dive. Uh, last week we saw the AI India Summit coming up with a total investment of over $227 billion in AI and infra-related commitments. And a large chunk of that is coming into the data centers sector, which is now emerging as one of the key sectors over the next few years. And you're already in the data center, so we thought let's touch base with you and then get deep down into how data centers are operating, who actually is the value creator, and to create that value, what are the infrastructure that is required. So the first question is that you've been in the data center business. Can you take us through the infra requirement and from a country point of view, and how value creation happens at various levels?
Yeah, this is very interesting. Data center business in our country, if you really see, started in the year 2019. That is when our Prime Minister was, in fact, he was the first leader in the world who spoke about data localization, that data should be localized. And at Anantraj, we took this very seriously and we started working towards data center. Initially, when Anantraj started, we started as a co-location player. Because see, one thing is very clear today, prior to 2019, this was not a very focused area in the country. And today, after we've seen the world change, how things have happened, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, all over the world, people have realized that whichever country can afford it would like to keep their data within that country or would like to go to friendly countries. For example, the EU deal which India just signed. So today, India has become a friendly partner to the European Union for keeping their data. So this is also going to give a huge boost. So with India, we are looking at two basic opportunities. A, Indian data getting localized, and B, friendly countries also housing their data in India. And India vis-a-vis data centers is very well poised because in our country, the capex is one of the lowest in the world, and the opex is also one of the lowest in the world. And as you know, that the Indian engineering brain is something which we all know. World over is fame. There are Indians only who are developing software, data, and whatnot. So, frankly, India is in a very good position to grow in this sector.
So if you were to look into the live data capacity as of 2025, we had the total capacity at 1.93 gigawatt. There are estimates that this will double by 2028, and the quantum leap that it will have by 2030, as many more investments will come in, especially by hyperscalers like Google and Microsoft and others, or Reliance or Adani, which they have been talking about. It will be multifold from here. So give us a sense of, you spoke about that, you started off as a co-location. Now what we're talking about is AI-centric infrastructure for data centers, which are there. How does it pan out actually, and what is the kind of infra requirement from a company which is providing that kind of facility, whether it's in form of hardware, whether it's in form of tie-ups with respect to the stack or infra softwares, or the entire project construction itself?
This business, first we'll talk about the technicalities and then we'll talk about the capacities. This business, we feel, can be done or should be done in two categories. First is co-location, which Anantraj started with. And after establishing ourselves as a co-location player, Anantraj moved on to providing cloud also. Initially, we started with infrastructure as a service. So we feel that in this business, either first to start with, either you're a co-location player, which means you give all infrastructure up to the rack. And then when you graduate to being a cloud company, you start with infrastructure as a service. And these are two things which Anantraj today is doing. And we feel that this is where you grow. And see, cloud, once you start giving cloud infrastructure as a service, this itself is a huge business. So you start with cloud and then you move on to as high as AI and beyond that. So as of now, technology talks about AI. God knows, after maybe a few years or maybe months, maybe we will start talking about even advanced technologies. As you know, technology business that way grows very, very fast. So we feel that these are the two categories people should focus and work on. Number one. Number two, category capacity. If you see, the Indian capacity right now is, like you just said, is close to 1.5 to 1.9, 1,000, 1,500 to 1,900. But this capacity, if you only talk about Indian data, we feel this can easily be between 6 to 7 gigabytes. So this is just Indian capacity as of now. And as you know, that this is one thing which keeps growing, because there are not many data which one can afford to delete, especially when we work from B2B. So data requirement only goes up. So as of now, we feel that this capacity comfortably can go 3 to 4 times than what it is right now in the country, and then beyond. And then when we start getting the friendly nations data also, this will further increase. So that way, India is very well poised in both the things.
Give us a sense of the kind of investment that is required and the kind of returns that can come in from a, and it's not a short term return, it's a long play for any data center player, and you've been there since 2019 there. So give us a sense of what kind of investment is needed, maybe for 100 megawatts or 50 megawatts, and what is the kind of value addition that comes in at every level, so that we understand how the industry is going to shape up eventually.
Let's break this into 1 megawatt. It'll be easier to understand. Otherwise, the figures will actually get very big. So when we talk about 1 megawatt today, when you do co-location, the basic costing for 1 megawatt for co-location, we are talking about world-class co-location. So, and which is something which will be certified also by authorities later on. So it is anything between 55 to 60 crores for that. So that is one. And your return here is approximately, the payback time, as you know, is approximately about 4.5 to 5 years. That's for the basic thing. Fortunately, at Anantraj, we are able to do it at much lower cost because our existing infrastructure was qualified and now is certified. We are a construction certified data center. So we were able to do this, achieve this in about half the cost. So for us, the returns are even better. That's one. When you move on to cloud, so cloud itself is a huge horizon. But the good part about cloud is that the payback is even faster. Now, when you talk about cloud, only infrastructure as a service, there is an additional cost of close to about 100 crores per megawatt. And then when you keep on adding services, the cost keeps on going up. So as of now, we are talking about infrastructure as a service where there are good EBITDA margins, but the fact is that upfront one has to invest all this. So when you're talking about 100 megawatts, for example, at Anantraj, we are talking about 357 megawatts. So you can imagine, not all of it is going to be cloud. Our basic model is that we do infrastructure as a service and then move on to cloud also. Right now, the ratios we are looking at, which we feel that we will further be able to improve, especially in the scenario which is going on. As of now, we are focusing with 75 co-location and 25% cloud, but these cloud will further go up.
So also a sense of the fact that you are tying up with major global players like Orange or Summers to provide infra as well as a cloud or hardware services. How do these tie-up help you in making that data center, or going to the market eventually to various clients or other big IT companies?
When we started as a co-location player, it was fairly simple for us because co-location actually is hardcore infrastructure. And infrastructure is something Anantraj has been doing for almost 5.5 decades. So we were very comfortable doing that. But yes, when we moved on to cloud, it is pure technology. And initially, we tied up with Orange. All the equipment and the technology which we are using for Ashok Cloud, which is a sovereign cloud of the country, which was launched in October 24, is with the help of Orange. All the technology and equipment has been taken from them. So they are technically supporting us that way, number one. Number two, recently, Anantraj did one more tie-up, which is with Summer, a Spanish company. This company is basically a specialist in providing AI-enabled infrastructure. So as you know, a lot of data is going to be requiring AI, and we recently India witnessed the one of the largest AI summits in the world. In fact, this was the fourth one, and if you really see the earlier three and this one has surpassed even the earlier three put together. So we got phenomenal response as a country, as a company in every way. So we did this tie-up with Summer, the Spanish company, to be AI enabled also, because we feel that the future is going to depend a lot on infrastructure which is AI enabled. So our clients will have the option of if they want co-location, they can take co-location. If they want cloud infrastructure as a service, we can provide that with the help of our technical partners. And then now, with the recent tie-up which we've done, we will also be able to provide AI-enabled infrastructure.
वकील साहब